Alright, you guys, here we are on um, last lab, Unit 5 project on looking at static electricity. And to do this, what you'll do is you'll use this model here to test a few things. The instructions are pretty straightforward on this thing, but I wanted to show you kind of how to use this and kind of what to expect there when I'm grading this thing. Also, I wanted to quickly go over some basic information when we're looking at electricity. And so when we're looking at electricity, we have good conductors and insulators, right? And so if you've ever been around electricity, some good conductors of electricity would be metals, right? So you have copper, silver, gold, iron, etc. Water is another good one. And then what you have is your insulators that would help to kind of speed this process or protect the electricity. And so those would be some examples of that. When we're looking at at electricity, it'll follow a circuit, right? And so this is kind of an example of how that kind of works. If you have a switch that's on, it'll go through, turn it on. If you have the switch off, it turns it off. And you have to have that energy source that kind of generates that electricity. Excuse me. Whoa. One equation that is useful when we're looking at this is Ohm's law. And when we're trying to calculate electrical current, we know the electrical current is equals to voltage divided by resistance. So the idea is, how can we increase current? Well, we would have to increase the voltage and decrease resistance. It's an inverse relationship there. And so back to that circuits thing, there's two types of circuits. We have series circuits and parallel circuits, and if you want to learn more about those, you can definitely look that up. But anyways, to get started here, it's going to tell you to do a couple things here. So it's going to describe it, and then it's going to tell you to take a screenshot periodically throughout. And so if I was to do this first one right here, it says to take the balloon. It says first to take a screenshot of this. Now, if you're on like a Windows computer, one thing that you can look up is just like snipping tool, and snipping tool you can take a screenshot, and it'll bring up like a little page or thing that looks like this. Sorry. And you just push new, and then you can kind of screenshot that puppy, right? And Control C, and you can just paste that right here into the box after you make a copy, right? Anyway, so that's what you'll do there for this. And it says to place it in the before box. Well, here's the before box. So the overall charge of sweater. So I maybe would paste it down here, and then I can describe what is the overall charge of the sweater and the overall charge of the balloon. And if you look right here, you'll see that it's the overall charge of the balloon is what? And so hopefully you came to the conclusion that it's 0 because you have a positive and negative charge. They're matched up with each other. And so the net charge would be 0. And the same thing's right here. Well, what if I take this balloon and I start to, play around with it like that? And you can see that now the balloon took those electrons away, or the electrons were attracted to the balloon for some reason. And now we have that kind of static electricity that we see when we rub the balloon against us, and it'll kind of stick on us. And so that's kind of what's happening there. Interesting. Anyways, let's see what it'll do. Ooh, that's cool. I'm getting ahead of myself though. Okay. Anyway, so you'll do that. And so what's the overall charge of the balloon after? And so it says to take a screenshot of this afterwards. And so I'd do the same thing, take a screenshot, paste it into this, maybe down here, and answer those questions, right? And so then it's got a couple questions that you'll answer pretty straightforward. And then what you'll do is you'll go down to this second part where it's going to have you open up another one of John Travolta. Push play. And it'll have you do a couple things, like, oh, here, let's just, Anyways, so you can play around with this a little bit, you guys, but you can see that this gives some negative charges, and that's why we can zap people. So now you know how to zap people, according to John Travolta. So, anyways, but the questions are pretty straightforward, so I'll let you guys play around with that and answer that. When you get done, you'll submit this to the assignment. All right. Well, if you guys have any questions, let me know.